Hey guys, Abby here. Just wanted to get a video up. I know it has been a while, um, but I have gotten myself pretty organized and have a lot of content that I am going to be producing. And of course, I have been doing our weekly trainings each week, so that has been content for the people who are in the private group. There'll be a link below if you guys want to get access to the spreadsheet that you see right here. This is actually all of my business resources. There is a link right here to the free weekly training that I do every week, Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. If you would like to join that training, you can click that link and just request access to the group. Make sure you answer the questions or whatever, and then it'll be good to go. But what I wanted to talk on this video is just kind of how you can get your business up and rolling for under 50 bucks. Um, there's only a few essential tools you need when you first get started. A lot of people get confused because they're like, "Oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to, I've have to have everything perfectly set up." And you don't. To get started, I mean, you need a few things. So this video will just go over those few things and how your costs can be less than 50 bucks. So the first thing you definitely are going to need is you're going to need some sort of domain name. You need a name to your business. So whether you're going to build a personal brand or if you're going to build just a faceless brand or a company brand or something like that, you still need to buy a domain. So the place I actually recommend that people go and register a domain name is Namecheap. It's the one that I use. I buy all of my domains from Namecheap. I used to use GoDaddy, but I really like Namecheap. It's a little bit cheaper. And actually, in this resource guide that I give you guys, if you want access to it, like I said, you can just click the button and gain access. These are all of my tools and what I recommend. This is kind of an evergreen type resource guide. So if you get access to this, you can come up to this little thing right here, this little star, and bookmark it so that you can reference back to it at any point. But domain registration, if you click this link, obviously it will take you over here to Namecheap. You can get a domain for if you don't have a Namecheap account already, you can get a Namecheap or a domain name for $6. And then this is actually also where I would recommend people get hosting. So if you go over to Namecheap, if you click, obviously the button, go to Namecheap, this is where I actually recommend. So when you're first starting out, I mean, you really don't need more than basic things. So once you have your domain name, you're going to want to host that somewhere because you're going to want to put a WordPress type blog. And I teach a lot about that on the Wednesdays, is how to set up a WordPress properly, and, setting up your website. But no matter what type of business you're building, you're going to want to have some sort of website front where you're going to be selling products, services, digital products, things like that. So hosting, I actually only recommend getting the shared hosting. So if you go to hosting, shared hosting, I actually only recommend this Stellar. It's $1.48 a month, and you pay for the first year. So the first year is only going to be $17.76. So for less than 20 bucks, you're going to get a year's worth of hosting, and then on renewal, it's only 45 bucks a year. So between that and the domain name, you're looking at running a business for $55 a year. So that really is not bad. And then those resources, of course, are over here. Now, when you're first starting, of course, your whole goal is to build an email list. But I don't even recommend necessarily getting an autoresponder yet. These are just the three that I use or have used, I guess. I'm really getting into it, Active Campaign, and learning the ins and outs of that. And I'll do some content on that platform as well. But that's probably a little bit for somebody who's a little bit more advanced. A beginner may want to use one of these two. But right now, as a beginner, I wouldn't even recommend that. I would get your domain name. I would get your hosting, and then I would get a funnel creator. And the one I'm recommending right now is System.io. And if you get System.io, you can actually click this link right here. This link will actually import a free funnel that I use to give away this spreadsheet. You would have had to access that prior to accessing this sheet. And then it allows you to collect an email and email people. You know, I will be emailing people different content. Every time I update this spreadsheet or maybe add a new training video or something like that, I will probably shoot out an email that says, "Hey guys, Abby here. Just wanted to let you know I uploaded a new video to YouTube," or "Hey, I added this cool new resource to the resource guide," and I would probably link back to my resource guide. And then I have a lot of things on here, and I will be going over what each of these places and these things do. But for right now, I just am only going to cover domain names, hosting, and obviously a funnel creator. Those are the basics to getting started in any business. So if you've been on some of my trainings, we've been talking a lot about WordPress blogs. And this is the startup of my blog. Obviously, it is not done yet. I don't have all the content and all of the products and things I will have up on here. But I actually have a walkthrough videos of this whole process and getting it set up. And that is on one of the courses that I will be releasing soon, which will be completely free. And it will be probably linked up to right here where, get all my marketing courses. And I will have that free. And it basically will be a case study / training of where, I started. Obviously, I bought abbyhundro.com. I bought shared hosting. I installed WordPress. I set up my blog. I created a funnel with System.io. And right now, if you're a beginner, I recommend just getting the free account. You can actually do a lot with the free account, so it makes sense to just have it. And then if you join, obviously, the group where I do free training and stuff, I actually give away funnels and show you how to put all these things together and things like that. So it's completely free. And then basically, once you create a funnel, which I have done, that is where I will use that to sell whatever products I want to sell. That's kind of how that works. So the Abby Hundro site is set up, but I don't have all the content on here yet. I actually will probably have that in the next week or two. But these are the things that I'm focused on. I will talk a lot about, WordPress blogs. I will talk a lot about YouTube. I've made the majority of the money online through social media services, particularly selling YouTube services to other content creators. And then I will be talking a lot about System.io. That is my go-to for funnels. And then PLR, which stands for private label rights. Reseller means you take a product and service that's already out there, but then you resell it as your own and you white label it under your brand. That's what those terms mean. And that is how I actually built one of my biggest businesses. Was I sold social media services through, basically, I found private label rights products and I sold them as my brand. And then I found services that I could resell to other people, and I white labeled the reporting and all of the branding to my company. And that is what I did. And I built I think I had over 27,000 clients at one time. I have 40,000 people on an email list. I've built up a pretty large business with just a very basic giveaway, and then driving those people who took my free ebook and drove them back to a site that sold services for what they were looking for. That was essentially what I did. And it's pretty much what we do on the weekly training I do. I cover different aspects of these things, but we go more into depth. And then I do some training videos on how to set the blogs up and how to come up with what niche are you going to go into. Do you want to sell local services? Do you want to sell online services? Do you want to sell writing services? Do you want to sell any type of service? I kind of walk through the process of how I would set that up. If you want to sell digital products, then you would simply create your own digital product or use something called PLR, which is private label rights, which I have resources over here. If you were looking to do private label rights, this is the site I use. This is the site I get all of my PLRs from. They come up with new ones. I paid for the lifetime, and they usually issue 1 or 2 new PLRs. Any PLR that has to do with social media, I grab that and I rebrand it to my company social media site brand. And I send out an email and I say, hey, we have a new digital product up. Would you like to get the free guide to it? And oh, by the way, here's a course, or here is a ebook for sale. And I sell something. So that is how the whole process kind of works. And then, of course, I give resources for some AI tools that I use. This is for AI video, things like that. I will go into more depth with content and how I use these tools in later videos. This is just kind of an overview and an opportunity for me to invite you to come into the private Facebook group and come to the weekly free training that we do. Let's see, the group, this is what the group is called. It's Market Pacer Accelerator. And I mean, I'm literally just, I get on here every Wednesday. We have events every Wednesday. I can actually show, here's all the past events that we have had. We've been doing it for, quite a while. And then I upload the replays to YouTube, but I keep them unlisted and only the people in the group get access to the replays. So that's pretty much, what I'm doing with the group. And then each week we go into depth talking about each of these things. I look at people's business. There's a lot of people in there who are actually, they own their own businesses too. And they have expertise in areas that maybe I don't. We have a couple e-commerce people in there. I am not e-commerce, so I don't do a lot with that, but we have people in the group who are. So it's just kind of a mastermind where we're feeding off of each other. And then I usually have a set training for each week where I cover one of these areas. But I try and give a lot of stuff away free, so that people can, try and basically have the resources they need to build whatever business it is they want to build. And if you don't exactly know what you want to build yet, that's okay. There are a lot of people in that boat too, where they're still just trying to figure out exactly what it is they want to build. And I try and offer, there's a lot of free resources. When I first started, I didn't have a huge budget to get started until I started bringing in income, where that income could then pay for some ad money and things like that. And so I get where people are at if they're just getting started and don't have a budget, but getting started is, if you're going to build a real business, you need a domain name, you need to get hosting, and I recommend WordPress. And then you need some sort of funnel system to where you can actually collect lead names. I'll show you an example right now of the lead capture page I used to collect leads for my social media company. So this page right here is the page I was driving traffic to when I was trying to collect leads for the social media company that I was running. So basically, people would hit this page. I was targeting people who were looking to generate revenue on YouTube. So I was looking at YouTube creators, people who were looking to start a channel, people who may have already had a channel but weren't monetized yet and wanted to get monetized. They would actually land on this page and they would say, yes, give me this free ebook. They would enter their name, their email, free instant download. As soon as somebody downloaded the video, or it would go to the next page, there was a button where they could download their free ebook. But then there was also an offer on the next page that said, hey, would you like help getting monetized? Do you need X service? So then I would be offering them. But not everybody took me up on that. But I collected an email so I could keep emailing them different offers, different angles, because everybody who came into creating revenue were at different stages. So there were, some people who didn't even have a YouTube channel yet. We're just trying to figure out how can I make money with YouTube? And then there were people who had established YouTube channels that just weren't monetized yet and just needed help doing that. So I offered a wide range of services from YouTube. And when I started, I actually used Fiverr to outsource some of my gigs. So I think I put Fiverr over here. Um, if not, I'll add it to the resources before you actually see this. But Fiverr is actually one of the places where you can look and see what people are selling, and you can resell services at a higher price. So if you're buying a gig for $5, you could turn around and say, like, and this is exactly what we did. Here's an example product. We would do thumbnails or YouTube covers. So when I sold, here, I'll go over to Fiverr right now. Fiverr. Let's do YouTube cover. This was one of the things I sold people. We would actually come over here and I looked at these people and I looked at some of the things, but look at this. You can get gigs. I think at the time I was paying $5, but I was charging $20. So you could, depending on what the gig offers, you could have somebody else make the Facebook cover for this person's channel. They would send the done work to you once you charge people. So say you charge $25 and we'll do an awesome YouTube cover. You sell the $25. I would come over here. I would have already figured out who I was going to be using for this service, but I just sold it for $25. You would come over here. This one is actually a Facebook, YouTube banner, and social media header. So they're selling this as a bundle. This would be really cool to sell as like a bundle, and you could mark up the price a little bit. But if you sold this, say, for $25, you'd come over here, you would order this gig for $10, they would create it, they would send it back to you, and then the finished work you would send back to the client who just ordered it from you. And that's how, white labeling and reselling services works. And this is where I started. I don't do this as much anymore because I do most of my things in-house now. And I have, people that work for me that do these things. But this is what you could do if you don't have anything yet. You can find services over here that you would like to resell, and then you could build your site and your funnels around those types of products, get leads, and then have emails that you can send out to these people to say, hey, we've got this, we've got that, and people can purchase those things from you. And that's kind of how that works. It's a pretty simple process, and it isn't hard to do. And this is the more in-depth thing we do on Wednesdays. We talk a lot about this, and I show my sites and things like that. I don't always share all of that stuff on this channel, but that is essentially what I did. I basically sold tons and tons of different YouTube services, and you can come over here and type in whatever you want. So when I was doing, I probably started by saying like, oh, what YouTube services are even being sold? This is kind of where I got the idea of even doing this. So I could sell video SEO, which I do, but I don't outsource that. I do all of that on my own. You can sell YouTube optimization, which I did. This is obviously for my business, but whatever your business is going to be, you would want to find something relevant. But I'm trying to get you to stop thinking like, oh, I have to have everything perfect before I can get started. You don't even have to know how to do what it is you're going to sell. You just have to find somebody who already does it and sell it. So that's how easy it is to like get a business up and running. And like I said, the only thing you need is you need a domain for your brand. You need to host it. And I show you how to get a WordPress blog installed. And it's super easy to edit. You really just need like an about page, what you do, and then your services page. And it's just a matter of selling whatever it is. And then you can sell with your funnel an opt-in page, something like this, where people give you their name and email to get something in return. And then you have that lead for life. So that is kind of how business works. I will have videos. So like if you do get this resource guide below, just know that I am going to be updating this quite frequently, and I will be adding videos to the specific tools and things I'm doing, or even playlists, because I will have playlists on my YouTube channel about some of these higher end tools. Now, granted, there's some advanced tools that if you're a beginner, don't worry about those things. But there's some pretty cool ways that you could early in your business start generating revenue. And I mean, those are the things we're going to talk about in the coming weeks. And again, I invite you to come over to the Wednesday trainings. And if you would like access to this spreadsheet, you can just click the link below. But we will see you guys on the next video. Hopefully you understand that getting a business set up and going doesn't have to cost you a lot. I mean, the 3 tools I told you needed, it would cost you under $50 to set that up today. So anyway, we will see you guys on the next video, and have a good one.